Consider this statistic. A 40% in-person meetings directly lead to sales or deals, which means nearly half of face-to-face networking efforts could result in a tangible business. But of course, there's a lot more. A whopping 75% of customers have a strong preference for outright or require you for an in-person meeting before they'll give you their business. And of course, the other side of it, by skipping out on networking businesses, risk losing of 28% of their potential profits. As you can now see, in the world of business, networking isn't just about making connections. It's crucial strategy for sustaining and growing your cleaning company. What do? People buy from people they know, like, and trust. For them to know, like, and trust and create that relationship, first, you have to show up in a place where they hang out, and then you need to be able to convey your message and create that relationship without being seen as you're stalking that person or trolling them. And that's the strategy that I'll break down for you in this video, including the places where you can actually find those perfect matches for your cleaning business. If you want to grow your cleaning business and bring in more people, networking is unavoidable. Yes, in the beginning, you could possibly do the ads inbound strategy that I like. However, those are the ones that will kind of attract those potential cleaning customers towards you, but they won't get the business. So there are a couple of things. If you think about it, the whole business is an assembly line. So somebody goes and fishes, throws the rod and waits for it, brings the fish, and then someone else cleans the fish, chops it, packs it, etc. So the same thing happens here as well. Those strategies that I like, inbound, my preferred one, outbound, that I'm getting better and better at, they just to be able to get in front of your potential perfect buyers for your cleaning business. However, when you want them to do business with you, literally sign your contract, hand you a paycheck, this is when the networking comes in, because people buy from people, what again? They know, like, and trust. Appropriate questions you can ask to make the small talk and make an effective connections. Nothing too person or praying, of course, but something to grab their interest. And we're gonna go dive into them. So these strategies are combined my experience since 2009, but also Christina in my team, she actively goes to walkthroughs. She meets with a lot of people and she attends workshops and events. And recently she attended this event and she dropped these bullet points and I'm like, wow, that's super cool. Why won't you share them with me so I can actually share them with the community, because I find them very invaluable, which means you'll benefit from it as well. So it's my 2 decades of experience plus Christina's experience for 5+ years in actively networking. That is the knowledge that I'm about to share here with you. So when you're doing this, your main thing is to show that you're not like trolling them, that you don't want to freak them out. And there's a list of questions that you want to ask them to get the conversation going, to get the conversation flowing. So some of them would be, how long have you been in business? So that's a great conversation. You normally want to ask the questions that will provoke them to start talking, start thinking, start connecting. The next question is, what brought them into this industry? How did they end up in here? How often do they network? Where are the places and areas where they network? And do they give to any charities or support any nonprofits? Because if you can connect on that non-materialistic level, then the connection is far deeper, which means it's easier, the trust breeds faster. And these are the questions that all are designed to make the person to open up for you, to start talking and see where you can connect. So the next question is, to break the ice, you can do the exchange of information cards and how do they spend their time, for example. Do they volunteer? If so, where do they volunteer? Any hobbies? Do they do skiing, hiking, boating, etc.? Whatever floats their boat. And then remember, when you're talking to someone, when you're approaching your potential prospect, you want to be intentional. So I personally like to go to events where my potential customers hang out. So I want to be the small fish in a bigger pond. I don't want to be the big fish in a small pond, which means I don't like going to places where my potential vendors hang out. I like to go to places where my potential customers hang out. So be mindful of it. And whenever I meet someone, and if I meet someone who is likely to become a vendor for me, I don't try to spend half of the night with them. You are there to network. It's kind of like speed dating. You speed date, get the business cards, make the notes in the back. Like I normally have a pen and a business card. By the way, carry that digital business card as well. I'll probably link down below for the the one that I use. And what you want to do is write down and then follow up with them. So these are the opening questions. One thing to keep in mind, you're not there to just hang out with one person throughout the night, because that's not the best usage of your time. Your intent is to create the relationships, as many as you can, make them remember you, and then you remember those, the ones that you're gonna follow up, and these are the questions you will start asking. And when you ask the questions, instead of going, hey, I'm John, I'm with cleaning company, I love to clean, buy the cleaning from me, that's not the approach that I utilize. I normally go and ask them. So these are the questions that you're asking them, because they need to open up, they need to tell. People like to share their opinions, share their success, share their stories, listen to it. Do not inject, do not interrupt, especially if this is your potential customer and they are opening up until the point where they ask, oh, John, thanks, I actually missed out on Mark, I just kept bragging about myself, what do you do? So when they ask this question, then you know it's your momentum to shine. But until that point, I try not to interrupt my potential people, that the customers that I might create the relationship with. And then some of them will become a genuine friends for you down the road, a year worth of relationship. So it's totally worth it. And then another thing to keep in mind, after networking event, what do you do with those contacts you make? So there are 3 effective phases that you undergo through once you meet them. So you go to them, you open up those questions, what do they do, what charities they do, and then you connect the business card. And what I like to do is, as soon as I have the business card and pen, I write down, like, get back to this person with this is what he does, potential customer looking to bid janitorial work, whatever it is. And then you go through the stack of your business cards. When you come back, you follow up, and that's super important. A lot of people fail on following up, and that's something that you need to get better if you are in this game for a long term. If you're truly trying to build a company which you can delegate and claim back your time, financial freedom, time freedom, then the relationships will have to be built, because people buy from people they know, like, and trust, and people, right? So phase 1 will be right after you come back. Look them on a social media. So you're doing a little bit of homework, and you're going to LinkedIn, Facebook, and then you're going to check out their company website to get some more information and know the best way to refer them and what type of contacts you're looking. Remember, when you're creating those relationships, you are going to serve them before. So one of the super cool rules that I like is give, and then ask. You don't want to go and say, this is what I'm looking for. You want to try to connect, you want to please them, you want to create relationships when you serve them, because then it breeds what? Reciprocation and trust. And once the trust is there, reciprocation is there, then you will surely get work, which is guaranteed, my friend. So that's the phase 1. So you're looking it up, you're doing a little bit of due diligence, and you're gonna see how you can connect, who you have in your network you can put in touch with these people. Phase 2 would be, you will ask for a meeting, or you could host a meeting, so it depends what you're doing. And then there are questions that you want to ask for them. It's, what can you give to that potential referral partner? So that's, now you're asking, like, what can I do for you? What can I give you? Where do you drive value to them, their clients and or their network? So if they are too big, right? Let's say it's a huge property management and there's not much you can do, but let's say they're struggling with, like, HVAC person that they have unreliable, and they drop by multiple times that they have unreliable person, then put them in touch with your vendor, help them out to solve a problem, give them a shout out online. Maybe their online presence is not good. Maybe that's your stronghold. Maybe you will create a really nice marketing collateral or content, whatever it is. Serve them for no cost and watch the reciprocation to grow. I actually like to be the first who gives, because the person who gives, like, naturally gives smaller amount, because the other person wants to reciprocate and top it off, right? So whatever you receive. So there was a study actually, and I think I read it at Think and Grow Rich in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So there was a guy, and I could be misinterpreting the facts, but the core is there. There was a guy at a corner on a busy street, and when people were passing by, he was just handing out a newspaper, and people would grab it and they're like, how much is it? He's like, hey, no worries, don't worry about it, it's yours. And people are like, okay, that's awkward. But so he just gave them a newspaper to those that accepted it. And then next day he went back to that place again and he started selling a drink there. Let's say it was Coke. And then the same people who he gave, he started giving Coke again and start saying, hey, now I'm selling it for $1. And the newspaper was, let's say, 10 cents. And then instead of $1, those people who received the newspaper before for like 10 cents now pay them $2. So what you can see is reciprocation. When it's innate ability and innate thing that we have in us human, we want to do better for those who did good for us. So therefore, try to serve those people genuinely, and then you'll see how your connections will start flourishing. Focus on referral partnering and who you can help them before you talk about yourself. And then when you talk about yourself, I try not to mention unless they ask. Believe it or not, there were instances where I would sit down with a potential customer or a potential client, and I talk to them and I let them talk. And at some point, there were cases they even didn't ask, what can I do for you? Or what do you do? And I'm like, sure, I ended the conversation. That's not a sale. Initially, it's like a dance. You're creating that relationship. You want to see if you guys are compatible. And then eventually they came back to me like, John, sorry, I was so selfish of me. Like I didn't ask, what do you do and how can I help? And then that's when you shine. I try not to inject. And I keep re-emphasizing, I know that, try not to inject what I do and instead ask what people like. They just like to talk and share what they do. And some people have done monumental things. I mean, a lot of us have things to listen and admire, and start underlining those things. Be the best listener, which is more important than being the best talker. So limit the time for the phase 2. So we're now in the phase 2 where you have meetings, and try not to go over 30 minutes, because in the beginning I try to stay 20 minutes, actually 20 to 30 minutes depending upon who am I meeting. And then if the relationship gets better, then you can always meet up with them and take it to the next level. And then what's your give back to them after the call? Make sure you follow up whatever you promised. So if you said, hey, I would put you in touch with this person, I would share this article, I would do this for you, whatever you promised, it's super important. And this must be like capitalized and in bold letters. Keep your word and follow through, because if you don't do this, is like all the effort that you put will go to nothing, because then the person you just met who could help you out down the road knows that you don't follow through with your work. And if you don't follow through with your work, why would you follow through with your cleaning job, right? So it's the capabilities. You're establishing your brand, your persona, your truth, like the fact that you can actually stick to what you say. Because when you get those big malls, when you get those big buildings, they require consistent people to show up and deliver. And those people that actually are able to sign off on this, they really value their worth, and those who they surround themselves, that the fact that they can deliver. So make sure that you follow through in this, especially the relationship building phase, but also it's super important to follow through with your cleaning promise when you network and now you have the job. And then we're going to the phase 3. The phase 3, and right after this, I'm going to mention those places where we can meet those people and how to be in front of those people. And so far, if you're liking the content, don't hit the like button. Wait, actually tell me how you network, how you get in front of those people. Are these strategies are making even sense for you? So phase 3 is follow up and organize those contacts. Are they in and then when you do that, now you're on a phase 3, you're breaking them down. Are they acquaintance? Meaning, because like when you phase them down, so they could be acquaintance, which means you met them but they're not actively supporting you. And then what you're doing is you just add them to your newsletter and try to get out at least once a month newsletter. You will be so impressed with the return you will get from those newsletters. Just keep it short, concise, to the point, and always bring the value. Instead of saying buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, actually do not say buy from me. Instead say, this is the help, this is what I can do, this is the progress. Keep them updated and share information, how to disinfect, how to clean, how to polish, whatever it is. Remember, knowledge is not a trade secret anymore. Not much of it is available online, YouTube, ChatGPT. You can go various places to find it, but people pay for execution. So you can share as much as you'd like. And if one person executes it, then great, they will be grateful to you. So next time they will likely reciprocate. But if it's not, then many won't, and they will reach out to you because they know you are capable of delivering it. So get them on your newsletters and get them out once a month at least. If you can do bi-weekly, that's great. And I would probably stay not more than weekly, depending upon the content and conciseness of your newsletters if you get there. But start with once a month. And then the next one, if they're not an acquaintance, then they're an advocate of yours, meaning now now they know you and they'll introduce you, but not proactively. In this case, you keep them in your newsletter and then you thank them each time and maybe suggest lunch meeting later on to strengthen that relationship. And then the third phase would be the ambassador. Now they know and actively listen for opportunities to introduce you to potential customers and influence. In this case, what you're doing is you're getting them into the newsletter, you're emailing the industry insights and keeping them up to date. You schedule moments to stay in touch with them, regular meetings, happy birthday, congratulations, congratulations, newborn, new position, etc. Now you're becoming friends, cookouts, whatever. And then staying in contact, which means inviting them to other events, sending relevant articles, and you read about their business and being creative to keep them, like basically stay in touch, which is super, super important. I had customers, believe it or not, we started small. The relationships for any big start small, especially if the person is a manager at a bigger facility. They will not give you the whole contract unless their team walked away and you were already there, but they'll give you something once, twice, for a year, for 2 years. They'll test you, make sure you show up, make sure you're consistent, and then they'll offer you bigger contract. This is how we were able to get our largest contract, except the cases when we utilized the inbound marketing and somebody's person walked away on them. Literally, we had, believe it or not, courthouses, state buildings where their cleaning teams walked away on them, but I already had worked for this person. Initially found me online and I had done a little bit of work, and then they're like, hey dude, can you bid it? But there were also other places where teams walked away and they're like, dude, can you come in and fill in? And they're like largest hospitals too. That's how we were able to get tens of thousands in checks. Okay, so where can you find those people? Let me break down online and let me provide some of the offline places where you can meet them. Book that like button, and thank you so much for doing it while I'm getting ready for the next phase. LinkedIn is an amazing place, a professional networking platform that allows you to connect with others in your industry, join groups and participate in discussions. And LinkedIn is so cool. You will notice not many people are active as far as Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook goes, like likes and comments, but they monitor, they're all professional business people. You will find them there, unless they above LinkedIn, they're billionaires and etc. and they don't need that. But even then, they probably check in with their friends. So LinkedIn is a super cool place. Twitter is great too, great for following up and engaging with leaders in your industry, joining conversations through hashtags and sharing your experience. So that's great. Facebook, of course, Facebook groups particularly offer a range of groups, of course, tailored to your interest and allowing discussions and connections. And then industry specific forums and websites. You want to find them that are related to your industry peers, share their knowledge and communicate there. Any platform outside of the online places where you can interact with your peers, this is good because that's where you're creating the relationship. And then virtual conferences and webinars, they happen all the time. The influencers do them, the industry does this. ISSA industry is big. There's also AJ Simmons that has good videos that he puts the Cleaner Network event, I believe. So those sort of events are good. Whenever you see a trade show coming into your town or a neighboring town, go and attend, because that's a great place to meet peers and communicate with them. But remember, if you're after, this is to meet your peers and learn from, but if you're after the customers, then you want to go to property management, general contracting, flipping houses. So you want to go to places where your potential customers hang out. And then in-person meetings would be conference and trade shows. Those are the ones that I mentioned. These events normally gather professionals from specific industries, providing opportunities and learning for networking, local networking events, and those would be like at Meetup. You can find some of them where they happening, Chamber of Commerce's, BNI groups, local business networking events. Those are great to go in person. Professional associations, that's like property management and general contractor industries, food industries, hospital, medicine industries. Those are good for you if those are the customers you're going after. Community and volunteering events are amazing too, to go and engaging in community services, local events, and then build connections outside of your immediate industry, and then you can put it on your resume as well. Because if that's something that you do, you should talk and share about it. You should not be quiet about it. You should actually share that as well, because you're helping somebody. And then alumni events. If you went to a class and course, then stay tight with those people. Let's say you guys took a financing class, all of you, and there are like cleaners and there are property managers and etc. Stay in touch with them, because at some point you'll start referring business to one another. I know this was helpful. Next, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in that video. Thanks, and keep on crashing your businesses.